Yeah, I don't know.
That's the warm-up question.
Okay, yeah. So, all right.
You know,
Con-
typically when I do a warm up before like a workout, it's like a 3 minute slow jog by some light stretching. It's not like all out suicide sprints, right out of the gate.
yeah.
I think we need to redefine what warm up means.
All right, welcome to episode 80 of Farm to Markets. This is the show where participants only get 5 minutes to state their opinions, and the person with the most time at the end wins, but there are no prizes. Today we were talking about the new rule that will raise mortgage fees for people with higher credit scores. Twitter's blue check marks. If gold is the new cryptocurrency, Star Trek communicators, and participation trophies. All right, so a new rule enacted by the Biden administration will raise mortgage fees for borrowers with good credit to subsidize higher risk borrowers on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac loans. Under the rule, which goes into effect May 1st, home buyers with a good credit score of over 680 will pay about $40 more each month on a $400,000 loan. Those payments will then be used to subsidize higher risk borrowers through lower fees. Federal Housing and Finance Agency Director Sandra Thompson says the rule will increase pricing support for purchase. The rule will increase pricing support for purchase borrowers limited by income or wealth. Do you think that this? What do you think about that? What's your reaction to this rule?
My initial reaction is this is a god awful idea. It's so stupid. It's like nobody remembers what happened 15 years ago when the federal government incentivized banks to lend to people who couldn't afford to borrow to buy houses, and it blew up the housing market and nearly destroyed the entire global financial system. It is like mind-boggling how short-sighted people seem to be when dealing with this, and how forgetful we are with literally like 50, it's not even 15 years ago now, not even one generation ago now at this point, that we dealt with this exact kind of problem. It really is baffling how dumb this idea is. And if you're not exactly familiar with what I'm talking about, to just put it very bluntly, back in the 90s and 2000s, the government got the idea that everybody needed to buy a house. And so through a series of government programs, they would subsidize or guarantee or incentivize banks to lend to people called subprime borrowers. These are people with bad credit scores and no money. And the worst offenders, they called them ninja loans: no income, no jobs, no assets. And anyways, so what happened is they had all these terrible, terrible loans that were getting funneled into either government guarantee programs, or like they would package up 10,000 loans, and 2,000 of them are horrible and 8,000 of them are good, cut them into a million pieces and sell them off as a fixed income security, and they all went bad because too many people couldn't pay the bills. So this seems just like a redux of that. And if they're not careful, they're going to create the exact same problem, and it's going to lead to the exact same outcome.
I think Alex said it well. There's not a whole lot more to say. I think this is absolute craziness. So basically, we're going to punish good risks and reward bad risks, and just hopefully that it works out. So unless I'm missing something, I think the current administration has completely lost their marbles. This is just another attempt at trying to force economic equality, and it's only going to result in greater inequality at the expense of, well, basically everyone. The only group of people that will make out are the ones that already own a long-term home before May 1st, because after that, the environment's going to change. There's this delicate balance in the housing market ecosystem, and the current administration is basically going to release a new non-native invasive species into it, and then they're going to watch and see what happens. Unless you're an apex predator, good luck.
In what universe does it make sense to encourage people with bad credit to continue to have bad credit, and discourage people with good credit to try to mess up their financial state of position for the purpose of getting better loans? What is going to happen is that people who have the financial wherewithal to get a high credit score they're just going to find alternative sources of financing. And the promises will already have been made to the people with low credit risk or low credit scores. So there's not going to be enough money to finance those particular loans. So where the money's going to come from? They'll just print more, cause more inflation, and the very people they're trying to help, they'll end up hurting even more.
Yeah, you should be trying to incentivize baristas to get mortgages. I mean, I mean, it's insane, and you're basically you're not leaving any incentive for people to have good credit scores anymore. So it's like, why would I work hard to get a good credit score so I can pay more to subsidize somebody with a bad credit score? It doesn't make any sense. So.
I believe this is just another play like the forgiveness of student loans, where the president is just hoping that the Supreme Court stops him from actually doing this, but he gets all that street cred come the 2024 elections. So he's essentially shamelessly pandering for votes from low information voters at election time, knowing full well the courts probably will not allow him to do this.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's just pandering. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about the clock issues.
We got it.
Yeah. All right. So in an apparent move, all right, so moving on to the next one. All right, in an apparent move to increase subscriptions to Twitter Blue, Musk on Thursday removed the so-called legacy blue check marks from most accounts whose identities had been verified before he took over the company, unless users subscribe to Twitter Blue. In addition to verification, Twitter Blue subscribers receive other perks for their $8 per month subscription fee, like the ability to use two-step authentication safety features. Musk has threatened to upend Twitter's old practices of only verifying notable accounts since buying the social media platform last year, calling it a lords and peasants system. With so many high-profile entities on Twitter left unverified, and with the ability to verify available for purchase, many have shared their fears about the impersonation on the platform. When Musk first started offering blue checkmarks to Twitter Blue subscribers last year, users created fake accounts for LeBron James, Donald Trump, and pharma company Eli Lilly. Do you think Twitter is better with the new subscription fee or worse?
I don't really have an issue with the new subscription fee. If I had an issue with anything they were doing, it might be that they're not giving long enough notice for some of these companies or individuals. That being said, I don't really use Twitter like at all. And maybe for small individuals, it's more of a pain in the butt, but you would think, companies that are on Twitter shouldn't really have a problem coming up with $8 a month. Guess I'm not thrilled with removing the already verified status again without much notice, but I don't know how much notice they gave them. In general, it's probably better for Twitter's bottom line. So I guess good for them.
I like to think that Elon Musk is basically 2 steps ahead of everyone in everything he does. And this blue checkmark drama is almost like a social art project to him. And it's probably going to result in greater subscription revenue by means of watching the anti-Elon Muskers squirm and vehemently deny that they actually subscribed when they saw that blue checkmark. I think it amuses Elon, and he knows he has a lot of haters out there, but he doesn't care. This is theater for his supporters, and I think he knows what he's doing. I think it's going to boost revenue.
It's a game of chicken between big influencers, say like Rob Reiner or Stephen King, who believe that their content is so popular that the only reason people are on Twitter is to hear what they have to say. But Elon Musk realizes that there's millions and millions of new subscribers who are coming in who really don't care about Kim Kardashian's latest Botox injection. So, the $8 certainly is affordable to the vast majority of these influencers. So the question is that are they going to crumble when Rob Reiner stops tweeting? I think Elon Musk believes that Twitter won't.
I personally I like the verification system because if there was a big name who says something, and you're like, is that true? You could instantly tell if it was like an authentic account. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna miss that. That said, it's not horribly hard to verify if an account is accurate, especially if they have a public website. And some of these bigger personalities have, a lot, or I should say, it's not some of them, a lot of them have like a public website where you can verify their Twitter account. Just, for instance, some guy from from Charles Schwab is on my Twitter feed here, and just to make sure his account was real, I actually looked him up on the Charles Schwab website, was able to find his Twitter handle on there, and could verify that he was in fact with Schwab, and it wasn't that hard. If you wanted to verify me on there, it would be a little bit harder because I don't have like a personal website. But for some of these bigger names, it's not that hard. But I am going to miss the verification tab on there because it made it easy. But I understand where Twitter's going with this. They need to create revenue, and the blue check mark, $8 a month for that is a good idea for that. So I don't have any problem with it, but I am going to miss the verified check mark though. All right. All right, so the Wall Street Journal ran an article saying that more and more crypto traders say they are willing to trade the high gains and stomach-churning plunges of cryptocurrency for the relative stability of gold prices. Now, do you think gold is becoming the new cryptocurrency?
No, gold is gold. Crypto billed itself as digital gold, and its entire existence has proven to be exactly the opposite. Gold is supposed to be stable store of value, and crypto has been nothing but a volatile roller coaster ride. Gold, like I said, gold is gold, crypto is crypto. If anything, gold is the anti-crypto. It does exactly the opposite of what cryptocurrency does. Everybody understands that it's, at least most people understands that it's like a long-standing, stable store of value, and it is that that feces hits the fan kind of protection. Whereas if the lights go out, crypto is completely useless, even though it's mostly useless already. So no, it's not the new cryptocurrency. It's just cryptocurrency traders are figuring out that it's not gold. Gold is gold.
Yeah, it's gold is not the new cryptocurrency. It's certainly getting a lot of attention right now. It's in the news. Folks are buying a lot of it. I mean, it's the highest it's ever been, and it can't reach those kind of levels without folks finding it desirable. There's two different types of Bitcoin investors. There's the speculators and there's the fundamentalists. What I think we're seeing in this whole rush to gold and decline of Bitcoin is that the Bitcoin speculators got caught skinny dipping, and they're basically looking for a place to cover up, and that's largely been gold. Now, there's still Bitcoin fundamentalists out there who own it because they believe in it philosophically. Bitcoin is still fundamentally different from gold, and that's what makes it desirable. It's very new still, it's risky, it has huge upside potential, and it has this definable diminishing supply, and that's why the fundamentalists like to buy it. However, just because gold is getting a lot of face time right now doesn't mean that it's going to replace Bitcoin. It's kind of like how every millennial and Gen Z TikTok video doesn't represent the culture of an entire generation. That's just what makes the news. So Bitcoin believers, they're flocking to gold. If that's the case, then the fundamental purpose of Bitcoin is dead, or they're hypocrites. But no, there's still a big difference, and it's not going to replace Bitcoin.
Bitcoin originally was never designed to be a trading mechanism. It was designed to be a form of currency that we'd be using in the marketplace for exchange. Gold, on the other hand, has always been considered a way of storing value in times of great uncertainty. What has happened is that the people that were interested in trading Bitcoin, they're no longer interested in trading Bitcoin, so the traders have to trade something. Gold just happens to be up 20% in the last 6 months. So just by default of its success, traders are looking to trade something, so they might as well trade gold. They are fundamentally different, but for traders, it's just a commodity. We can trade Beanie Babies or Teletubbies or whatever, but right now they're trading gold because there's more gold interest than there is Bitcoin interest.
How does one trade a Teletubby?
Through non-fungible, what do they call them? Non-fungible tokens?
Tokens, yeah.
One on the blockchain.
Okay, yeah.
At Joe's house, they'll show you. No, if you fundamentally gold and Bitcoin are different, but I think philosophically they're the same. I mean, when cryptocurrency first came out, it was billed as, you know, the electronic version of gold. I mean, is that in that no one company had control over it. It was finite, you know, all yada yada yada. And then basically it, you know, it had, you know, there was all this fraud, and it took like these, you know, just huge crashes, and a lot of people lost money in it. And I'm not surprised that crypto traders who maybe are like bored with crypto right now because it's not moving around a whole lot are attracted to gold because philosophically it's basically the same principle. But like gold and cryptocurrency, I mean, there's a reason why gold is not being used as primary currency right now. The same reason that there's a reason that cryptocurrency is not being used as a primary currency. So I'm not at all surprised that some crypto traders are like, oh, you know, gold looks pretty good. You know, yeah, because it has the same philosophical principles as that you're trying to trade cryptocurrency for. But I mean, it's not, you know, it's not going to be the next crypto. I don't think everybody's going to leave crypto and go into gold. I think cryptocurrency is just going to solidify itself as another asset class, and it's just basically going to do the same thing gold has been doing and never really get widely adopted as an actual currency. All right. All right, so moving on is that the Humane company created created by two former Apple executives, so they used to work for Apple, has created and demonstrated a prototype of a device that draws obvious comparisons with the Star Trek comm badge. And so I was shocked when I had to explain this to Joe when he came into work this morning, because Joe has never seen an episode of Star Trek. And I'll throw a picture up on here, but in Star Trek, they wear this little badge. If you tap on it, you can communicate with anybody else on the ship, essentially. So what Humane is trying to do is they came up with a device that, you know, is clipped to your shirt. You know, it's audio activated. So if you like say like hey, you know, kind of like the Hey Google thing, you know, if you tap it or say something, it'll activate. Except with this device is that it uses kind of like a laser projector. So if you want to see what time it is, you hold your hand up and it'll project something on your hand. You can see what time it is, or if you have any messages or something like that. And I'm just, you know, when I read this article, I was curious, like, why? I mean, do you think they're just wasting their time with this? I mean, there's already this cell phone, there's already this other stuff. I mean, is this company doomed from the start?
So from a purely like advancing the technology standpoint, no, I don't think it's a waste of time. It from what I saw of it, it looks pretty cool. It's a neat idea. But that being said, as far as whether or not it's going to be a mass adoption consumer device, it's going to make this company billions, I really doubt it. It doesn't seem to do anything that the phone doesn't do, but in just a more complicated way. So I could see it maybe as being like a niche peripheral, perhaps, kind of like smartwatches or like smart glasses, which have come and gone in various forms. Beyond that, I don't think most people are going to replace their smartphones with the comm badge.
I've mentioned before that I'm not a Luddite, but I am on the late end of the adoption curve when it comes to technology. I won't spit too much vitriol at this idea because it just might be the next big thing. I don't know. But initially, it sounds like it's not going to hold a light to smartphones. At best, it might complement smartphones, kind of like how the Apple Watch or the Samsung Watch complements phones. But right now, smartphones are pretty awesome, and they get tweaks every year. They get some minor upgrades, but they've largely been unchanged. It's kind of like Tom sometimes says the belt has largely been unimproved over the years. You know, it already works. Smartphones work. People like them. I think changing things up, it might just it might not work.
People have toyed with the idea of making smart technology smaller and larger, and I think that the marketplace has basically said that you know, this particular size is going to make the greatest amount of money if you sell it in the marketplace, because it's large enough that you can read it comfortably, but not so large that you can't put it in your pocket. I think this new thing is just too small, and I think that the number of you know, dexterous activities you have to do to get the information is just too much compared to what we currently have with our phone. I think the smartphone is going to be much more widely adopted, or even the smart glasses, before we see an adoption of this new Star Trek button.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, to me, it seems like a waste of time. I mean, if there's like some technology you can develop and they're great, but I do not see people developing it when you got the watch, the glasses, pretty much anything else, and everybody uses a phone anyway. So yeah, I'm just curious why they would be going at. Maybe there's something that the article didn't mention, but I don't see it. So. All right, let's see here. North Carolina introduced some legislation to enact a statewide ban on youth sports award based solely on participation. So what they're saying is when there it's going to be illegal to hand out participation trophies to kids in the state of North Carolina if the legislation gets passed. Should North Carolina? I mean, should this bill become law? I mean, what do you think?
Um, in general, I don't have an issue with participation trophies for really, really little kids. If you're trying to encourage and reinforce like enjoying an activity, for older kids, it's pretty stupid, I think. I'm wondering what number of place that this legislation would cut off. Like if you could get a first, second, and third place trophy, what could you get a fourth place trophy, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh? Which, where does it stop? In general, I think it's stupid. It's probably addressing an issue that's better addressed by the general public instead of the legislature. So probably overkill, no real need to do it.
On the child rearing plane, I agree with the North Carolina state government. I would probably like that. But politically, I completely disagree. They ought to not get involved in this. Let the parents decide. If the parents don't like their kids getting participation trophies, they can choose to participate in different sports programs that share their same values. They can throw the trophy away. They can use the participation trophy as a teaching opportunity to explain to their kids that simply showing up doesn't merit awards in life. But should the government get involved and ban it? Absolutely not.
The government's not going to get involved in banning this. This is one of those clickbait stories. I'm kind of surprised that the Wall Street Journal's staff writer actually printed this for his opinion letter because it's never going to get out of committee. This is just like that story of the state legislature. That one legislator tried to pass a law that you can't ride your bike naked through Missoula. It makes the headlines all over national news, but nobody is going to consider this in reality. So it's not going to happen. So I think it's just another way of, on a slow day for information, the staff writer had to come up with something by deadline.
It was a slow day for farm to markets, minor categories too. So yeah, so I saw the bait, I clicked on it, and you're like, you know what? I'm probably gonna make this this would be good. This would be good for when people read the topics, But yeah, no, I think it's ridiculous that North Carolina is even considering it. I think it easily worked out amongst parents. I think in a lot of states, I mean, it already is. I mean, if you want to give participation trophies to little kids, great, go ahead and do that. My own involvement in sports when I was growing up, they gave like little kids like trophies, and then at a certain age they just stopped doing it. So I think the sports community can easily figure this out amongst themselves without some ridiculous piece of legislation tying up time in the North Carolina state legislature. So
yeah,
wasn't there
kids themselves start keeping score, and when that happens, the
right
participation trophies generally just kind of go away. So
yeah, I mean,
no.
I coached hockey for an. Oh, sorry, what's that, Drew?
Oh no, kids know who won. They know who lost.
Yeah, I coached hockey for a number of years, and if I wasn't paying attention, and they're like, "Who won?" I'm like, "It's a tie." I get like 4-year-olds saying words that 40-year-olds shouldn't be saying to me. It gets ugly. So I mean, I don't think kids at some point they're like they understand that I don't want a participation trophy. I want to know that I win. So I don't know. This is stupid, but it was probably a clickbait article, and I took the bait. So
it's almost like the smoke. It's tough to see. It's really tough to watch. But in track or cross country, the very last person that crosses the finish line, they get the sympathy clap. They know they didn't win. It's just let them lose and be humble. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. What was that guy from like the Sudan or something in the Olympics who he didn't have an actual swimming pool to train in, and he just got obliterated in the Olympics. But everybody's like, "Hey, congratulations, you did it." Or it's like similar to like the Jamaican bobsled team. It's like, we know you don't have ice in Jamaica, so thanks for trying. All right. Well, that's it for episode 80 of Farm to Markets. We'll see you again next week.